Good morning, class, and welcome to today's lesson. Yesterday, we talked about personal pronouns, and today, we are coming to talk about reflexive pronouns. I hope you will get a good experience with our discussion of reflexive pronouns. Introduction. The concept of reflexive pronouns comes from the idea of reflection. Though reflection is not new, with our experience of integrated science in GHS and even at SHS, it is easily understood when we use mirror. We see ourselves perfectly as we are when we use mirror. Of course, some of us can use mirrors in very funny ways, just like the short video we are about to watch. In the video that we watched, we saw that the person looking into the mirror was the same person in the mirror. So reflexive pronouns are pronouns that refer back to the subject of a sentence. So they indicate that the subject, who is supposed to be the doer, is also the receiver of the action of the verb in the sentence. So the key to understanding reflexive pronouns is to remember that they reflect back to the subject. This means that the subject and the object are the same. Therefore, without a subject, there can't be a reflexive pronoun. Just as a mirror reflects an image back to its source, like we saw in the video, a reflexive pronoun reflects the action of a verb back to its subject. So we can see that the subject and the object of the sentence are the same person or the same thing. Reflexive pronouns, when they are singular, end in self, or selves when they are plural. Let's consider this sentence. She looked at herself in the mirror. The subject of the sentence is she. The object that receives the action of the verb in the sentence is herself. And she and herself refer to the same person. Therefore, herself is the reflexive pronoun of the she. When someone says she looked at her in the mirror, in the context of reflexive pronoun, it is incorrect. However, it means something else. If it's a reflexive pronoun, then we could say that Sandra looked at Sandra in the mirror. But if it's a non-reflexive, then we will say that Sandra looked at Mercy in the mirror. So, to say that she looked at her in the mirror means that she and her do not refer to the same person. But if it is a reflexive pronoun, then they must refer to the same person, like we have, she looked at herself in the mirror. Other examples, I hate myself. The subject I is also the receiver of the action hate. And so myself is the reflexive pronoun in the sentence reflecting to or reflecting the subject I. 2. She bought herself a new book. The object or the receiver of the action is herself, and it is reflecting the subject she, meaning she and herself refer to the same person. Therefore, herself is the reflexive pronoun reflecting the subject she. They blamed themselves for the error. So these are the reflexive pronouns that we have in English language. We have already mentioned that they take self in their singular forms and they take selves in their plural forms. So in singular, we have myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself. And plural, myself will be ourselves, yourself will be yourselves, himself will be themselves, herself will be themselves, and itself will be themselves. Meaning the plural reflexive pronouns are ourselves, yourselves, and themselves. Uses of reflexive pronouns. When do we use them? 1. To show that the subject and the object are the same person or the same thing. Example, she cut herself while cooking. So she was the one who cut herself. Can you see yourself in the mirror? So you and yourself refer to the same person. The subject is you and the object is yourself. He is old enough to take care of himself. The subject is he and the object is himself. The man attempted to kill himself. The subject is the man and the object is himself. Uses of reflexive pronouns. 2. To emphasize the subject. This is what we call intensive pronouns. I will do it myself. So there's a kind of emphasis. This one that I am the one who will do it. She herself read the letter. Then you must speak to him yourself. So this is a case of emphasis. Still on uses of reflexive pronouns. There are certain verbs that require reflexive pronouns. By their nature, they require reflexive pronouns. They include enjoy, hurt, introduce, prepare, blame, apply, behave, cut. Example, he enjoys he enjoyed himself at the party. You must introduce yourself. Prepare yourself for the task ahead and don't blame yourself. So we want to talk about the common mistakes that we do when using reflexive pronouns. And the first one is that If there is no subject, there should not be reflection. If no one stands in front of the mirror, there will be no one in the mirror. So you cannot use a reflexive pronoun unless its mirror image. You cannot use a reflexive pronoun unless its mirror image, which is the subject, is already in the sentence. So when we say, please contact Jill or myself, Jill is not the subject, myself is not the subject. So there should be I. If we say, I will contact Jill myself, I will contact Mike myself, then myself will reflect to the subject I. But in this case, there is no subject. And so, please contact Jill or myself. When you take the Jill out, say, please contact myself. Since myself has no subject that is reflecting to, then it is a wrong expression. The correct one should be, please contact Jill or me. Me is not a reflexive pronoun, so it can work. Some more examples. Come and meet myself. The subject of the sentence is not I, so myself will not reflect to the subject, and therefore myself cannot be there. 2. Myself will be there. Myself is supposed to reflect to a subject. Therefore, myself cannot be the subject of the sentence. 3. This food is for myself. The subject of the sentence is this food. And myself and this food do not refer to the same thing. Therefore, it cannot be a reflexive pronoun. So it is also an error. Common mistakes. We also make mistakes with reflexive pronouns when we are dealing with compound subjects and objects. Let's look at this sentence. Please give the book to John and myself. You could see that the subject of the sentence is not myself, it's not I. So myself will not get a subject to reflect to. The correct one should be, please give the book to John and me. Me is the object. 2. David and myself are presenting. It should be David and I are presenting, so that David and I are subjects. Myself cannot be subject because it rather has to reflect to a subject. We have come to the end of the lesson. Let's try our hands on this exercise. Use the following reflexive pronouns to write a sentence each. 1. Myself. 2. Themselves. 3. Himself. 4. Ourselves. And 5. Yourself. Thank you for your time. I wish you all the best. Goodbye.